Want more Korean videos like this? Subscribe to our channel.
Hi everyone, I'm Jae-hee. Welcome back to Korean Weekly Words. In this video, we'll be talking about 20 must-know family words. Let's begin. 어머니, mother. For Korean family words, actually there are two types for most of the words. First one is very formal and the other one is very casual. So when you call your mother politely or when you address someone else's mother, you can use the word 어머니. But when you just call your mom very casually, you can say 엄마. So 어머니, formal, 엄마, casual. In Korea, there's no Mother's Day, but instead we have Parents' Day, which is 어버이날. So in a sentence, you can say 어버이날에 어머니에게 편지를 썼습니다. I wrote a letter to my mother on Parents' Day. 아버지, father. 아버지, father. So it's the same. 아버지 is for the formal situation. For casual situation, you can say 아빠. 아버지, formal, 아빠, casual. So in a sentence, we can say that 아버지 생신 선물로 넥타이를 샀습니다. I bought a necktie for my father's birthday gift. 여동생, younger sister. 여동생, younger sister. So here we have the word 여, which means female, feminine, or woman. And 동생 means younger sibling. So altogether it means younger sister. So in a sentence we can say that 여동생이 조카를 낳았습니다. It can be translated as my younger sister gave birth. 언니, 누나, older sister. 언니, 누나, older sister. Like if you're a male speaker, you have to say 누나, but if you're a female speaker, you have to say 언니. So for example, if you're a male speaker, you have to say 누나가 내일 결혼합니다. My older sister will get married tomorrow. But if you're a female speaker, you have to say 언니가 내일 결혼합니다. My older sister will get married tomorrow. Male speaker 누나, female speaker 언니. 남동생, younger brother. 남동생, younger brother. 남동생 can be used by both female or male speakers. So you can say something like 남동생이 다음 달에 군대에 갑니다. My younger brother will join the army next month. 형제, brother. 형제, brother. Someone asks you like 형제가 몇 명 있어요? You can translate it as how many brothers you have, but also how many brothers and sisters you have. 사촌, cousin. So 사촌 literally means relative who is 4 steps away. So there's some words, something like 삼촌, which means uncle. So that means the relative who is 3 steps away. So you can see 삼촌 is closer to me than 사촌. So you can say that 사촌 결혼식에 갔습니다. I went to my cousin's wedding. 삼촌, uncle. 삼촌, uncle. So you can say that 설날에 삼촌 집에 놀러 갔습니다. I visited my uncle's house on New Year's Day. 할머니, grandmother. 할머니, grandmother. So when you talk about grandmother in general, you can just say 할머니, but when you address someone else's grandmother or you want to address your own grandmother politely, you can say that 할머님. And also, like if you just say 할머니, that means the grandmother on your father's side. If you want to say grandmother on your mother's side, which is your mother's mother, then you have to say 외할머니 using 외. So in a sentence, you can say that 할머니 생신에 떡국을 먹었습니다. We had rice cake soup on my grandmother's birthday. 할아버지, grandfather. So 할아버지 means grandfather, 아버지 means father. And if you want to talk about your mother's father, like grandfather on mother's side, you can say 외할아버지. 우리 할아버지는 70대까지 일하셨습니다. My grandfather worked until he was in his 70s. 부모님, parent. So in general, 부모님 is the word meaning parent. But when we talk about Parents' Day, we use the word 어버이, which address both father and mother inside one word. So 어버이날 means Parents' Day, but in general, you can just use 부모님 to mean parent. For example, 부모님이 어제 학교에 오셨습니다. My parents came to my school yesterday. 딸, daughter. There's one word 딸바보, which literally means daughter, stupid. People use it when they see a father who always think about their daughter. So they say like you're stupid because you only, think about your daughter, like in a very positive way. So you can say that 우리 아버지는 딸바보입니다. My father is the father who always think about a daughter. 아들, son. So 아들 means son, and when you want to address someone else's son politely, you can say that 아드님. 아드님은 요즘 어떻게 지내세요? How is the son doing? 우리 아들은 내년에 군대에 간다. My son will join the army next year. 배우자, spouse. We usually don't use this kind of word in a casual situation, but in some, official situation, for example, 배우자를 찾습니다. I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for a spouse on the ad or on some written paper. You can use the word to mean partner or spouse. 아내, wife. 아내, wife. So 아내 means wife, but in a daily conversation, we use some different words. For example, 아내분 to address someone else's wife politely. But 아내 has a neutral tone, so you can use it as in 제 아내는 회사에서 일을 합니다. My wife is working at a company. 남편, husband. This is also a neutral word to mean husband. And also, when you want to address someone else's husband, you can just add 분 and say 남편분. So for example, 남편분은 뭐 하세요? What does your husband do? And as an answer, you can hear 제 남편은 선생님입니다. My husband is a teacher. 여자 조카, niece. So 조카 means both niece and nephew. But if you want to make sure that it's for niece, you can just put 여자 and say 여자 조카. If you want to make sure that it is nephew, then you can say 남자 조카. So for example, you can say that 여자 조카랑 같이 디즈니랜드에 갔습니다. I went to Disneyland with my niece. 시어머니, mother-in-law. 시어머니, mother-in-law. If you like Korean drama, I think you hear this word a lot. So you can say that 제 시어머니는 정말 저에게 잘 해주십니다. My mother-in-law is taking care of me a lot. Only female speaker can use it. So if you're a male speaker, make sure that you use 장모님 to mean mother-in-law. 자식, child. 자식, child. There are many words to mean child, and 자식 can be used to address your own kids. It's more common to say 아이 to address, kids in general. So you can say that 저는 자식이 3명 있습니다 to mean I have 3 kids. Or more commonly, you can just say that 저는 아이가 3명 있습니다. I have 3 kids. But make sure that you don't use this word to address someone else's kids. 형, 오빠, older brother. For example, if you're a male speaker, you have to say 형 to mean older brother. If you're a female speaker, you have to say 오빠 to mean older brother. I think you heard the song Gangnam Style, and there you can hear 오빠 a lot. It means older brother, but usually Korean women, they use 오빠 to address their boyfriend or partner. So in the lyrics of Gangnam Style, actually it means someone who is dating with, not the older brother. So in a sentence, you can say 저는 형이랑 많이 싸웠습니다. I used to fight a lot with my older brother. Okay, that's all 20 must-know family words. If you want to learn more words, make sure to visit koreanclass101.com. I'll see you next time. 다음 시간에 뵙겠습니다. 안녕히 계세요.